The active killer strategy at church. This is really simple. People think this is really significant. It's really not. Somebody starts killing people in your church, kill him fast.
09 Solutions is a member of our holster consortium focused on duty gear for law enforcement officers and for private citizens who are using load-bearing vests. They got all kinds of great stuff. Their radio holder is incredibly cool and really good. Check them out at 09holsters.com in the link in the description.
Kill him fast. I was taught active killer response by a dude who got his Alabama drawl. Okay, here we go, gentlemen. Somebody's killing people. We get a call that somebody's killing people. Here's our plan. Find him and kill him. Well, what about, okay, wait, I'm going to back up. You let me know when I lost you. Find him, kill him. Simple as that. Now, okay, so the first priority is to stop the threat, and then the aftercare. First priority. So again, West Freeway Church of Christ, stop the threat. When the threat presented itself, that was the priority. When people stopped dying, now we can start doing the aftercare. Sutherland Springs, he was killing people, until Stephen Williford, realizing he was killing people, goes to get his AR-15 out of his safe. I've met Stephen, he's a good dude. He's kind of weird, but he's a good dude. We're all kind of weird. Okay? Had an empty AR-15 magazine, grabs into a box and comes up with 6 rounds in his hand that he's stuffing into his magazine while he's running down the road in his bare feet. Gets across the street, starts putting a couple rounds towards the guy. Guy jumps in the car and drives off. Standing there in his socky feet with an AR, bystander rolls by and he goes, that guy's just been killing people in church and we got to go get him. And the dude in the car goes, jump in. Texas, y'all. Okay? So the crazy part of the story that you don't know about, so the guy ends up wrecking up his car. Stephen killed him dead with his AR. Okay, because he's like, that guy's going to do something more. And then they're waiting there, so the cops start showing up, and he's literally standing there in his bare feet, and they cordon off the entire area because they don't know that the guy's dead. And so Stephen's between them and that, and eventually he's like, hey, and so the cops are hollering at him, and they know he's a good guy, so he's okay, but he's the guy covered him, and they told him, stay covering him. You've got the cover on him. You can see him. Okay, cool. Can somebody ask my wife to bring me a pair of shoes? Because he was sitting there inside the danger zone for hours, so his wife brought him a pair of Crocs. No joke. And then some cop ran up and gave him some shoes. It's craziness. Okay? Now, first aid and trauma care after the threat is over, and the Committee of Tactical Combat Casualty Care standards of hot, warm, and cold zones apply. If you go, what is the Committee of Tactical Combat Casualty Care? To the Googles with you. Yes. What are the hot, warm, and cold zones? Once again, to the Googles with you. Okay? In a hot zone, the only first aid we offer is hot lead on people that make it a hot zone. Best cover, wall of lead. Okay? Best cover's a wall of lead. So we do that. Marksmanship requirements for armed security in church. A 15 to 25 yard shot under stress is definitely a thing. What I would suggest is, based on your facilities, look for the longest general practical shot that you're probably going to take and train to that standard. In the church that I pastored for 10 and a half years, from my place in the pulpit on the stage to the back door was 19 yards. It wasn't a big sanctuary, right? So 19 yards inside. So you're like, okay, you got to train to 19 yards. And then I stepped through that door, and the back of the parking lot was 48 yards. So that's the standard I train to, 50-yard shot, all the time. 50-yard shot, cold, on demand, 3 seconds from the holster. C-zone steel. Can't guarantee you I'm going to pop him in the head. Somebody's killing people at the back. No, that's okay. So somebody's killing people at the back of the parking lot. It seems kind of stupid. Well, that's my worst case scenario, and I got to be able to get a gun out of the holster and get a shot at least on that guy in under 3 seconds. That was my standard. Now, psychological stop versus a neuromuscular incapacitation or exsanguination stop. So in other words, you might pull a Jack Wilson and shoot a guy and screw in a 357 SIG into his ear and shut the computer off. Okay? So using my Navy terminology, right? This is the electrical system. If you shut the electrical system off, the Ranger stops running. If I have to shut the hydraulic system off, hydraulic pressure will stick around for a little while. It takes a little bit longer. So I'd love to shut the electrical system off if I can, but that's pretty small target. So if I got to start with the pumps and the pipes, I'll start with the pumps and the pipes and then work my way from there. But a psych stop works great too. What's a psychological stop? Somebody just says, if he decides to stop killing people. New Life Church, Genie Assam. New Life Church 2007, dude had a problem with YWAM and had gone the night before and killed a couple people at a YWAM office. They had a close connection with New Life Church. He shows up to New Life Church with an SKS and several, so it's an M version SKS, I believe, so it took AK mags. And he shows up to the church, mega church, multiple thousands of people there. Genie is a former cop, off duty, not off duty, so former cop, private citizen, on security detail out in the foyer. Dude shows up, smokes 2 people in the parking lot, kills them dead, murders the first 2 people, steps into the foyer and starts winging shots. Genie goes to get her pistol, gets her pistol out, and her first encounter with the guy who is shooting at her with an SKS was at 60 yards. And the dude starts sending rounds her way, and her third shot hit him in the leg. Put him down, right? So then you know what he did? Ate his rifle. Great. It's a psych stop. He still had the ability to shoot. Decided he was done. Perfecto. Sandy Hook Elementary School. I never name mass killers. That falls under what I call the some asshole rule. Okay, just he died in obscurity and nobody remember his name. That miscreant shows up, starts killing people, killed a lot of kids, and guess when he stopped? Second the cops, he heard the squealing of the tires of the cops. Heard the sirens, knew they were there, turned the gun on himself. Good, psych stop, worked. Of course, that was too long because it's 5 minutes out, right? So, and here's the other part. I want to talk just a little bit again on that active killer strategy, and then we'll have a plan. We're almost done. The last little bit of this, when we talk about the West Freeway Church of Christ, I'm sure you've seen the video. Jack is a hero, but I want you to think as well as a team. Everybody wants to talk about the plan to stop the active killer. That's a relatively simple plan. But beforehand, to deter him, to deny him the access, and then the aftermath you need to think about, and what's our plan for the aftermath? Because what had happened that day is they had previous contact with that killer. They had previous contact with him. They knew he was a problem. And in fact, they had him on surveillance footage. They knew that he was a problem. Their security team was like, hey, that guy showed up that day with a fake beard on and a black trench coat. And it was a warm day. And they knew, this guy's not right, man. Something's not right here. And so they assigned a deacon to him. The deacon was the first man who died. Now that guy went and sat down in a pew, and the deacon sat down in the back pew a few rows away from him. If I know that guy's a problem, I am stapled to that guy at the hip. Me and you are best friends, friend. Hi, friend. We're friends. Well, I don't want you to be a friend. Hi, friend. We're friends. I'm not joking, because that might send that guy off. That might say, I'm out of here. I'm not going to do this, whatever. And then one of the big problems is that he pulled that shotgun and started working on people. So again, if I know he's a problem and I'm stapled to him at the hip as a friend, right? He might need some extra help, blah, 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 whatever, but he might also be a problem. That shotgun starts coming out. Nope, here we go. You and me are going to wrestle for that. Yay, bear hug time. Somebody else, come here, shoot this guy in the head. I'm going to wrestle him for a shotgun. Hip. Absolutely could have ended that without anybody dying. So there was a failure there of that assigned deacon to stick to that guy. You got a known problem? Do not let a known problem outside of your arm's length. Then, okay, let's think about the aftermath. So Jack draws a gun. It took him 3.5 seconds from the time that he decided to actually draw the gun, get the gun out, get the good side picture, put a bullet in that guy's head. Scrambled his brains. Good job, Jack. Okay, then what happened? Anybody remember from the video?
People start pulling guns down on them.
About 8 dudes show up in the sanctuary waving guns about. Holy heck. You got to discipline your team to know where their muzzle belongs. And this ain't it. We got to train handgun. If you feel like you need a handgun in your hand, okay, fine, but I need movement positions for that. And if that's down, again, I staple that gun to me and the muzzle is down in front of me and I go do whatever it is I need to do. If the better direction is up, I know what a temple index is and how to use it. And I know this is high-speed gun guy operator stuff and people are like, that looks goofy. Listen, if you hook your thumb behind your ear and just stick that gun to you, you know where the muzzle's pointed, and you should be able to see over it and around it, and you're not wondering where your gun is pointing. Much better, quite frankly, in my opinion, is to train people until they actually see a threat to simply leave the gun in the holster and put your hand on it. This is just as fast. Chris, if you start hand on gun, how fast can you get out and get an A-zone? Yeah. .40? No, he's Chris Bean. In the mortal world, it's probably .7s. Okay? But this is very fast. And guess what? If I run in there and I don't actively see a threat and I need to do something else, all I have to do is take my hand off the gun and I go do what I want and it's still in its holster. That's a better solution. Next thing that goes down. Okay, so a lot of people are like, well, you got to worry in an active killer event about people running in the foreground and all that stuff. None of that stuff actually happened. As soon as the guy started shooting people, what did people do? They got down. Now, it was after the shooting stopped that then people were like, boop, you see the little gophers, little groundhogs show up, and as soon as they realize, oh, I've got an opportunity, now the eruption happens, which is fine. I don't care. It's over. Okay? But then after that, who's doing triage with medical? Nobody. Now let's think through the problems after that. Jack is the head of their security team. Jack's day is over. Now, not the least of which, because he put that guy down, now he's run over to another spot and he's covering him to see if he gets back again. I can't be in charge. I'm on cover. So who's your backup in charge? Who's your number 2? Next one. 911 gets inundated with 50 calls. I would strongly encourage your congregation, for you to let your congregation know. If, God forbid, we ever have a problem, we have a designated 911 caller. Please don't flood 911 with calls. We need a designated caller. Now, in a large church, you ain't going to keep people from doing what they want to do. But at least if you communicate it, you'll tamp it down some. Next problem nobody dealt with. What is going to happen immediately after that in your children's ministry? You ain't locked. I'm telling you, if I'm in a church and all of a sudden an active killer has just happened and now it's safe, I don't care. You lock down whatever you want. If I have to murder you to get my children, I'll do it. And it's going to be a stampede to the children. Do we have a path in place to understand that and realize it? Next thing that's going to happen that's a huge problem. So now people are then going to just bust out for the exits, right? And head for the doors. But right now, you now also have a huge police presence coming in that is going to lock that joint down for the foreseeable future. So how does my parking lot facilitate the entrance? Do I have anybody that they know? Okay, once the threat is over, who's going out to the parking lot to show those responding officers who may not know my facility plan where they're going? And to reassure everyone stay in place. The threat is over. We're gonna, once the cops get here, we'll start sorting people out, but don't stampede out of here, because the thing right now is mobile killers who then murder in one place, jump in the car and go somewhere else. They see you peeling out of here, you're liable to get a car following you. So do you see how the aftermath care is super important here too? Then, okay, cool. Now, you got responding officers. Is somebody else kind of manning the doors and telling Jack, okay, Jack, he hasn't moved in quite a while. Cops are here. Okay, clunk. Hey, officers, how are you? Because you don't want a gun in your hand when the cops show up. They're just yelling, active killer. They probably didn't hear, active killer is down, scene is safe, we need EMS, and EMS is going to stage up 1,000,000 miles away, which is why your medical plan is so important. And hopefully they're getting better at that, but they're not going to do it overnight. I mean, we ask, so Warren, if you got a call of an active killer, are you going, yeah, EMS, come with us? Or are you like, no, you hose draggers and problem children, stay back here until we make sure you're safe? What's that? Yeah, wait your turn, right? It's my scene right now. Well, the people have sucking chest wounds inside. The people who are inside are going to be who's dealing with that. Ain't nobody from the outside coming to help you. So the aftermath planning, boy, it takes a lot of work to get that right, because it's about to be a big mess. Bigger congregation, you're going to have more formality here, right? And more of the interaction of recognizing that you're going to have more chaos in a bigger church. I think personally, more transparency is good here rather than less. I know some people are like, well, we don't want to scare everybody. I'd give them the information. Hey, everybody, here's what we see. Here's the lessons that we know. So we should never have to worry about that. But God forbid, here's a few things you can do to make this better for us. First of all, we have a great plan in place. We have a great team. We're going to prevent this at every opportunity. Hopefully we never have this problem. If we do, I promise you, we will deal with that problem very promptly. And then we're going to have some of these issues. There's going to be medical issues. There's going to be childcare issues. There's going to be parking lot issues. There's going to be, police are going to be, forming up, and they're not going to wait. And so what we need from you in that case is we understand you're going to go get your children. We totally understand that. But then wait on campus and make sure they're safe and you keep you safe, but stay in place there. And once the police start processing things, we'll let you out of here once they know that they're safe and they'll get out of here. If I had little kids, I don't mind that because I know what the problem is going to be with that. When I start sneaking out and deciding I'm a special snowflake, then that invites attention towards me that I don't want. And I also know, like, listen, the threat's over. Right? It's not like, oh, there's probably a hiding, lurking second killer somewhere who's waiting for enough cops to show up or something. That's not how that's going to go. So yeah, I'd hang out and wait. Again, if you're thinking that it's going to be like Nairobi and there's going to be 48 Muslim extremists that are going to come and murder everyone, that's just not the reality of things, how they go. It's almost always one or at most two, almost always one. Once that guy goes down, we're safe. And okay, the rest of our afternoon just got took up, and I got to recognize, and for me, I recognize everybody else here has a crazy busy afternoon, and I'm just going to not be the problem child.